It's upside down. Look at this. All right. It is a chainsaw. You know why? You know how I know that? It says it right there. Chainsaw. 5800. Don't even know what brand it is. Let's take a look. I'm not sure. Toolkit. I know this is the toolkit because it says toolkit on it. Maybe that's they call it a 20-inch bar. I don't know. Very cool. It's got a Walbro carburetor. Engine displacement 56.5 cc's. 56.5. All right, so it's a 56 cc saw. So that's, well, it's not tiny, it's not huge, but it's a decent little saw. 56.5. All right. All right, here we are in all its glory, the chainsaw. All right, so one thing that I noticed yesterday when I was putting this together is it's kind of crazy that this thing, you know how sometimes when you buy a grinder, it's got a handle, squeeze the trigger and then push the lock to lock it on. There's one on this chainsaw. If I squeeze this and then push this in, look, the throttle stays on. To release it, that's, I don't know. I think that's kind of nuts. All right, this is the choke, right? And then this is the on-off switch. Now that's fancy. Although, if it works, it works. Simplicity is good. All right, I'm gonna fill this thing up with gas and see how it goes. All right. This is supposed to have 25-to-1 mixed, but I have some around here somewhere, but I'm not using it in this. So how many pulls do you think it's going to take to get this thing going? Let's try it. Look at that. That was kind of fun. It actually runs great. I gotta set the idle down. I'm gonna take my earplugs out so I'm not screaming. Yeah, I know, you got a new toy, huh? Yeah, all right, here, hold on one second. Going. There you go, that's a fun toy. Knucklehead. All right, so it actually, thing goes good. I thought it was leaking gas, but I think it's just where I spilled it. So, there you go. I'm gonna do some work with it now, actually. All right, so I turned the idle down a little bit. I sharpened it up, took down the rakers a little bit, so let's give it a go. All right. It's a pile of ash. Definitely no anti-vibe, but it cuts good. Honestly, not too bad. You know, considering, like if this is all you had, it'd be a perfect chainsaw. Of course, you wouldn't want to try to cut this whole pile, and those piles, and that pile, and then more. And I have 4 piles over here. There's one right there. You wouldn't want to do all that with that little chainsaw, but I think that's probably going to be a chainsaw that you carry on the side-by-side or the back of the truck or the 4-wheeler or something. So I got a lot of other stuff to do. I got to go move some totes, and actually I got a bunch of totes that I have to clear them out. I got to take the bladders out of the totes and set them up. I got to clear a whole spot. I'll show you that right now. Okay, I got those broken down. I don't know if you can see, the sun's right there. Beautiful morning. It's cold, but it's beautiful. All right, you see that? All right, so I got a new spot. I want to keep the empty totes because it's where I used to stack the firewood before, and I'm not going to stack firewood there anymore. It's right over here. You can see it's an old toolbox, but I'm going to take all this out of here, and I'm just going to stack the totes in here. I'm going to make sure that the totes that are on the bottom aren't the totes that have the wood bases. I do set my totes on a pallet when they're full of wood. That way they are up off the ground, maybe only 6 inches, but it helps the water to drain through, but also the moisture coming up out of the ground through the cycles, that it doesn't go directly to the bottom of the IBC tote and rust it out. Also, it helps the bottom layer of the wood to dry. So I'm glad to have the old Ford going again. It kind of sucks when the front end was leaking oil really bad. So let's get this going. Uh-oh. I told you it was cold out. Okay. So this is a full tote of hickory, and that tractor will not lift that tote. This is a full tote of oak, and once again, that tractor will not lift this. This over here is cherry. This is over here. This is all cherry. If I fill a tote with that, it'll easily carry that because it's so much lighter. And this thing's working good. She's doing good. I split all of that oak and all of this hickory with that wood splitter. No time at all. It's pretty quick. And then I have this hickory pile here that I'm going to have to get cut up or split up. All right, so my battery died in the middle of that time lapse. So here I got all these. There's 11 of them here. These 10 are smaller totes, the 275s, and that's a 330. You can see it's about 10 inches taller. So yeah, I put all the totes onto pallets just to keep them up off the ground. But the biggest advantage of this is that they don't freeze to the ground. So I've actually broken totes trying to get them up out of the frost in the ground. We live in the Adirondacks, so the frost comes early in the year, and once it sets in, it's nearly impossible to get it out without thawing it out or chipping it out. And the totes, they're not cheap anymore. I think the first couple totes I had given to me, and now we're buying them. These are, I guess they call them Ds, A, B, C, and Ds. The Ds are the ones that are kind of banged up, and they do have the wooden frames on the bottom, and they're not the best ones for people that are looking to collect rainwater stuff. A lot of these totes had iodine in them. It's teat dip for cows and for milking, so they're a little banged up, but I don't really care. Like this one up here, see this? This one has to be welded, that thing has to be welded back on. Up there is broken up, it's got to be welded back on, but I don't really care. I'll do it when I have to. So, yeah. You can see here, these are hickory, they'll be here for a while, and they're on pallets. That's all oak over there, they're all on pallets. This one is a wooden bottom, but it's sitting on a pallet anyway. You can see all those they all have pallets underneath them, so that in the middle of the winter, if this stuff is ready to go, I can just pick it up and it's not frozen to the ground. So, yeah, you can see in there. All right, that pretty much does it for today. I got a whole bunch of other stuff to do, and now my dog has been asking me to take her down to the brook, so I'll show you some of that later. That's not the one I brought out.